Hello and welcome, this is Rooflemonger, and in this video I want to talk about my impressions of Mortal Kombat 11, as the game has now been out for a full week. It's good enough time to form an impression, right? And so what is it? I'll just say right now, it is, very positive overall. It is very positive overall. So what I want to do here is I just want to break this down into 3 sections here. I want to talk about the pros, what I find very strong about the game, the cons, the stuff I think that could use a little bit of work, and just some suggestions for the game as a whole. So let's start with the pros. So pro number one, because this is the biggest pro and this is why my opinion of the game is overall very favorable, is the game itself. Plays great. I love it. Big fan of the Mortal Kombat franchise, if you're not aware. Played the heck of every game in the series, even the bad ones like Deadly Alliance and Armageddon. And I love the game feel. To me, it feels like kind of like a strong mix of Mortal Kombat 9 and Mortal Kombat X. And as such, I think it plays very well. This game has a very strong neutral focus, which I'm a very, very big fan of. So less going berserk into running the 50-50 and the full combo. Not to say that some characters don't have 50-50s, because, some characters do, right? Like Sonya and all that. And they should be. Some characters should have 50-50s. Some should have strong footsies. Some should have strong gimmicks. That is the nature of what makes any fighting game fun, that there's a large diversity of what the cast can do. But overall, the game is slower pace and more favoring neutral play, which I am a big fan of. I've already played quite a few games where me and my opponent are both like kind of just fishing with our best neutral buttons, and we're just trying to catch each other whiffing and all that kind of stuff, and that's a very fun feeling. Like, fighting over positioning, to me, has always been the most fun thing in a fighting game against another player, and this game has that in spades. Now, on top of that, the netcode. How does the game play online? I gotta say, the netcode is fantastic. As far as modern fighting games go, this netcode is absolutely top tier. I've had a wide variety of connections, and most of them are good. The ones that, like, I'm kind of testing my luck a little bit, like, oh, this guy's, like, high ping and Wi-Fi. Sometimes those are still bad, but you know what? Sometimes those are good. In Dragon Ball, for example, the other game I'm known for playing, in Dragon Ball FighterZ, if I saw a low connection and I knew for a fact the guy was Wi-Fi, which, I could not know in Dragon Ball, I was basically wasting my time, right? In this game, it could still potentially work. And yes, you do get to see if your opponent is Wi-Fi or not. And to me, that is a massive selling point of the game. Wi-Fi is not the best way to play fighting games online, especially if you're competitive in any way, shape, or form. So if you are on Wi-Fi, please switch to wired, or get a power line adapter. If you can't switch wired, please do it. Thank you very much. But yeah, so the fact that I can see if they're Wi-Fi or not, I can see their ping, like not even just bars, I can set it so I can actually see their ping. That's fantastic. The netcode is so good. Man, I just love it. The quality of the online play is absolutely fantastic. Now, on to some of the single-player stuff. Now, I'm not really that big on single-player stuff. I'm very much more on the competitive end of things. I prefer playing against other people. But, I'm not made of stone. I like playing single-player stuff every now and then. So, I went through the campaign. I love the campaign. The only things I'll say about the campaign, without going into any spoilers, is I had fun with the story mode. Kotal Khan, just like MKX, let's say, could have done better. And not as salty as MKX, though, because Kung Jin beating Kotal Khan is, like, one of the greatest mistakes in the history of video games. But overall, I had fun with the story mode. I will say the ending made me a little bit sad. Not in like a bad way, but just maybe in a little bummed out way. Without spoiling what it is, it's just, I don't know, there's a lot of history of the franchise, and let's say that. And perhaps the ending does away with some of the history of the franchise. Now, this could easily be remedied in whatever they're going to do in the future. I don't know, but just as it stood, it did leave me a little bummed out. But overall, positive impressions of the story mode. And as for the krypt too, as well, I like the puzzle stuff. I like, thinking stuff out. That kind of stuff's really cool. Overall, positive impression of the krypt. Although I will say, whoever put in the friggin' jump scare for the Kenshi mask, screw you. Now, as for the gameplay, again, let's going back here. Let's just talk the variation stuff. So, as you know, there's 2 competitive variations for each character, and I don't mind the variations are back. I thought variations was a worthy experiment in Mortal Kombat X. Honestly, I wouldn't have missed them if they didn't come back either, but I don't mind that they're back. For the most part, they work fine. There is something I want to say about variations and cons, though. But for now, I'd say overall, I'm fine that they're back, and I don't mind that they're there. Now, let's talk about the training mode here. This is one of my definite pros. The training mode is very robust with a lot of options here. Easy recordings here, easy to set everything you pretty much want to set. And yeah, as someone who spends a lot of time in training mode for making videos and teaching other people how to play fighting games, I have to say this is a strong training mode. Now, maybe it's not the best it's ever been, right? I'm not going to say it's the best training mode of all time. It's one of the better ones. It's one of the better ones, but maybe not the best. Certain things, like I wish I could set it to the enemy, if I make them block, they could do something maybe besides reversal special. Like, I would much rather them set it be able to block and they can like down one me back, which I cannot do as of this time. I can set them to block and then say do one of their specials or a throw or something, but I can't just set it for something like a down one or an uppercut, which I think would be very valuable. But that said, as far as the feature set goes, I think it's quite strong. I think it's quite good. There's a lot of good in the training mode here. Also, as far as training mode is concerned, the fact that I can do training mode online with other people is a big deal. It's something I wish for every other fighting game, because really NRS are, for the most part, the only people who really do this in any kind of big fashion. So, like, say your Dragon Ball Fighters and all that kind of stuff, they don't have online training mode, and I would kill for it to be in the game. So I am very happy that online training is a thing, so I can show people something of what's up other than just, oh, here's how you do it on like on Twitter or something, versus like showing them properly in game, which I think is a lot more valuable and helps them learn a lot better. Another thing I think is super cool is just all the customization stuff here. There's so many options for all the characters, so many skins and outfits I think are super cool, and so many just little things of personalization. Like here we have Kotal Khan, for example. Like, you know, just the kind of sword options he has. Like, there's all sorts of stuff here, from like, you know, a proper sword to like Cloud's Buster sword, basically, to, you know, the proper Makio Hudel like he used to have here in Mortal Kombat X. There's just a lot of options, and like stuff like that adds a lot of flavor and love to the character, in my opinion. And so just being able to change stuff on a lot of granular level is really cool, in my opinion. And some people just got really cool stuff. Like, I love this Revenant Kung Lao here with the purple and gold. As a big Saints Row fan, purple and gold's kind of my thing. And I just think something like this outfit looks super sick. That, and there's just some weird fun stuff. Like, Baraka has this like Magneto helmet. So, you know, if you're just waiting for Marvel 4 and you're just waiting to show Charles what's up, you know, like, hey Charles, I'm a Tarkana now. Now, as for the cons I have, so first and foremost, like I said earlier in the video, I am mostly a multiplayer guy. I like playing against other people. I'm not really much for the single player stuff. So with that in mind, I know there was a whole hullabaloo about single player stuff, and honestly, to be brutally honest, I don't care about that stuff. It's just, it doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form how I enjoy fighting games. Anyways, with that said, a couple of con things. So first up, for cons here, I would just say maybe just 1 or 2 frames increase the wake up window, because I think it actually is a little strict sometimes. I've tried so many times to get my up 3 and all that kind of stuff, or a roll, and then like I said, I tried roll and I completely failed, right? I don't think it's necessarily strict, yet I do think it could be a little more forgiving. And if I'm struggling a little bit sometimes, definitely people you know, who don't have the experience I have will definitely be struggling. I've heard the complaint quite a few times. A lot of people trying to get their wake up and it's not coming out. And I have that issue every now and then, so it must be an issue overall. I'm not going to say like expand it massively, but once again, 1 or 2 frames I think would be nice. Now, another thing here, since we didn't mention I'm mostly a multiplayer guy, I feel online play needs better rewards. So I don't mind the quote-unquote grind, all that kind of stuff. You know, you're not meant to unlock everything on day one. You know, that's kind of just by design, right? Like, if you unlock everything on day one, it's kind of not as fun, right? But if you are playing online, the rewards you get versus playing towers is way less. And I mean way, I'm talking like you get like almost like 4 to 5 times as much rewards for single player stuff than multiplayer games. And that to me induces a, you know, to me that would be a bit of a grind, right? The most recent patch did make online rewards better than they were, and quite a bit so, in fact, but it's still nowhere near what single player people get for the rewards. Also, a lot of rewards are tied to single player stuff only. And I wouldn't even mind if there was, say, multiplayer-only skins and costumes, right? But that doesn't really seem to be the case. It doesn't really seem to be multiplayer-only skins and items. So I feel the single-player players get maybe a little bit too much in their favor. And I would just like something like, I don't know, say every 30 games, you unlock one skin randomly, right? Out of the pool of the Crypt and the single-player towers. I don't know. That's just an idea, right? But as it stands, I feel single-player people get a lot more out of the rewards of skins and items than multiplayer do, because they get more money, and they also get to unlock stuff by doing towers and all that kind of stuff, versus the multiplayer, you only get money, and you don't get anywhere near as much. Now, another thing I find a little disappointing is the online ranking system. So yeah, the game has a leaderboard. Sure, that's all well and good. That's fantastic even, right? Sure. But a leaderboard's not like proper rankings, right? Like, a leaderboard is just a leaderboard. Like, I would love to see, like, you know, rankings like, say, Dragon Ball FighterZ or Street Fighter V, right? I want to be work my way from bronze to silver to gold to diamond, like all that kind of stuff, right? And as the game currently stands, it doesn't have that. Like, yeah, you got your combat card, I guess you can customize a little bit, but that's not really the same as a ranking. I guess we have the Combat League, which we don't really know what that's about yet. They haven't really talked about that in any way, shape, or form. It starts in 20 days, I suppose. But I don't know what that's about. Maybe there could be something about you know, rankings in there, but as it stands, leaderboard I find incredibly basic. I find this is literally the least they could have done. I find this super bare bones, and I wish it was more than that. Like, it's nice enough to see where your place in the world is, I guess, but as it currently stands, I think it could be a lot better, and rankings and titles and all that kind of stuff really gives you something to strive for, which the game currently doesn't have. Now, earlier in the pro section, I said, hey, I'm totally fine with, you know, variations being back, right? But the con of that is I find a lot of people either have the one variation which is wildly better than the other, to the point of, like, why on earth would you ever pick the first one? Like, you know, I think Raiden's a good example here. Between his two competitive variations here, why on earth would you not pick the one with the enhanced teleport and his only launcher? Storm Cell, because Storm Cell is basically the only way Raiden has to launch people at all, and it's not in the other competitive variations, so why would you ever pick the one without the launcher that lets you do damage? Like, you know, to me, this variation is pointless. You know, and like, when one variation's so much crazily better than the other one, it makes you think, why do variations at all, right? Because to me, Thunderwave is light years ahead of Raijin, because I can do combos versus I can't do combos. It's kind of a big deal. Now, that said, too, a lot of the variations I find, I feel are almost slapped together. So Shao Kahn here is a good example here. So he has two competitive variations, just like everybody else, and they both have effectively a dead move. So Ridicule and True Khan and Dark Priest and Risen Emperor are effectively dead moves because they'll never work. They're both like 80 or 90 frames. Even if you cancel a combo, try to get them in there, you're punchable from like full screen. Like, that's how slow these moves are. So the idea is cool that they exist, but realistically, you'll never do these matches against a thinking opponent. Maybe you can get away with it against a computer, or if you're fighting a complete novice, but against another critically thinking human being, these are dead moves. And like, he actually has good moves that are not in these variations, right? Like stuff like Skewered, Spear Charge. These are both strong moves. Air Wrathhammer, Seeking Wrathhammer. These are strong moves. I played around with them just a little bit, and they're like way better than stuff like Ridicule. You know, way better than Dark Priest. Like, Dark Priest is cool for combo videos, but never getting off in a real match. So I feel like a lot of the coolest moves and best moves are just not in these variations, which I think if you're going to limit to two competitive variations, that's a complete, like, kind of failure, honestly. Like, I don't mean to say it in a mean way, but like, a lot of characters, a lot of their coolest and most interesting moves for the competitive setting are not in the competitive variations, and I find that very mind-boggling, to be honest. Like, I know they said that in the future they're going to be adding more, but, you know, more in the future is not right now, right? And then again, too, some of the competitive variation moves, like Kotal Khan, right? Kotal Khan, the move here, Con Cut, this is the only way he can start combos, realistically, in any, like, kind of mid-screen situation. This should be a base move. This should not be an ability move. Because this is another situation where the other variation without Con Cut is basically a dead variation. Because you, for the most part, can't do combos outside of, like, you know, your basic string into a special cancel, right? So it's something like that. I don't even know why that's an ability move when that should just be a base part of your move set. I'm sure over the months and all that kind of stuff, and there's patches, stuff will change, but that's probably my biggest gripe with the game as it stands. Alright, so those are my pros and cons. So now just a couple quick thoughts, suggestions here on a personal level here. So one, a lot of people know I'm a big fan of the big characters in most fighting games here. I tend to play big characters. So the characters I was looking forward to the most were Shao Kahn and Kotal Kahn. Kotal Kahn was also my main in Mortal Kombat X. And Shao Kahn and Kotal Kahn, like, in my opinion, Kotal Kahn is the worst character in the game. And Shao Kahn, I don't think he's the worst, but he's certainly low tier. Doesn't help that he's kind of saddled once again in the con section, like kind of a dead move on either variation. I think he's a lot more playable, but just stuff like if we go to the strings here, right? So if you can't special cancel a move like here, so triangle, X triangle, die by my hands, this string right here. The cancel advantage in the middle where you see frame data is NA because you're not allowed to special cancel it. But say if I go to You'll Never Win, this is forward 3-4, it says 24 frames of cancel advantage, right? This move is not special cancelable. Like, I'm trying. Despite the fact that the frame data is telling me it's special cancelable, it is not special cancelable. So, I don't know if this is bugged. This being special cancelable, literally, by the way, if you have not played Shao Kahn, literally could be all the difference in the world for the character, even though he has a couple dead moves, because like forward 3 is actually super good for him. If this was special cancelable, like a lot could be forgiven for this character, but I don't know if this is a bug. Like if it's a bug, please fix frame data so it's marked down that it cannot be canceled from. At least don't build my hope, right? But as it stands, it tells me I'm allowed to special cancel it, and I'm not allowed to special cancel it. And just other stuff like forward throw. So forward throw has a crushing blow tied to it, and it says trigger on a reversal or get up throw, and that's wrong. That is straight up incorrect. How the crushing blow for this move here triggers is off a punish. So if you block and the throw is a punish to forward throw, that's how it triggers. So this dialogue is fully incorrect. So in general, I would like to see like a cleaning up of this kind of stuff. If I'm allowed to special cancel it, please let me special cancel it. Otherwise, please fix the wording. And stuff like the forward throw crushing blow here is obviously just full on incorrect. So please fix stuff like that. Besides those, the big suggestion I would have for ranked online play is I like the idea of only player 2 can move their cursor after the game's over, so they can choose to quit out if they want to incur the loss, or they can like switch to character. I think that's great in theory, but I would love the option for player 1 to quit out as well and incur the loss if the option was given. Just because sometimes there's such a laggy match that like I don't want to keep playing. I would rather lose and take the loss than keep playing with this person, right? And on that note, I hope there's a blacklist option in the future. Like Street Fighter V straight up has a blacklist. Dragon Ball FighterZ has the marker list, so you can, you know, avoid people. People, like, regardless of the netcode is super good. The netcode is super, super good, right? But regardless of how good it is, any netcode, you're still going to run into people that you just are never going to have a good connection with, right? And when it comes to ranked, I've already fought the same gentleman a couple times before where our connection just simply didn't work and it was impossibly frustrating. So I hope there's a way to just, you know, not be able to match up against the same person that you marked down because your connections just don't work. Anyways, that's it for me. So that's just my thoughts, impressions of Mortal Kombat 11 as it currently stands. So overall, once again, despite some of the griping and all that I just went through, love the game overall. I think it's a strong purchase. I think it's a very strong fighting game, and I look forward to playing it just for many more months and years to come. Looking forward to the DLC that we kind of know already that's leaked, because I'm really looking forward to a lot of those characters, but you know, I didn't say that, but let's go Sindel and Nightwolf. But anyways, looking forward to all that kind of stuff. Looking forward to buffs for Kotal Shao Kahn, because I would like them to be a little bit better, please. Thank you. Looking forward to just the game as a whole. So anyways, that's it for me, because now I'm rambling a bit. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Mortal Kombat.